So it's okay. Is anyone can see?
We still see you. Why are you sharing another screen, a separate screen?
No, no, no. Wait. Let me. Okay. Let me do this. Share. Okay. Now. Okay. Should be better now, right?
Yes, sure.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah. First, hi everyone. It's great. Pleasure to be part of this Indabax session. Organizing Uganda. Thanks again, Claire. For this invitation. So yeah, let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Pascal. Currently I'm the Chief Data Officer for TACT, which is an anti-counterfeiting cloud-based platform. And previously, I've been working for 3 years. At Carbon, the Nigerian digital bank, as head of data science. And also, I'm a regular contributor to bootcamps, session events around AI, data, and especially around education, entrepreneurship. And beside this main activity, I'm also the founder of the Blue Rise, which is a non-profit organization aiming to leverage data science, machine learning, AI, and especially in order to bridge socio-economic divide and tackle social challenges dedicated to emerging and developing countries. So initially, I was supposed to be there with you, but as you guess, not in, I'm not the only one in that case. The pandemic, didn't allow to do so. So hopefully that next year, I will be there for the next session. So the topic I would like to present today. So according to me, it's definitely a very hot topic, especially highly relevant in 2021. So I'm going to talk about the impact of AI in political systems, social cohesion, democracy. And knowing that we get only, less than 30 minutes, we're going to especially cover one point, which is going to be AI and disinformation and its social impact and how it can affect democracy. So the idea of this talk, this presentation is to go beyond, I would say, traditional, like data science presentation. Obviously, I will mention some technical points related to ML algorithms and so on, but it's not the main objective of this talk. That's why I really would like to go a bit beyond, talk about like social, AI linked to social sciences and AI and what is finally data governance. So that's why behind, the title AI and disinformation, a threat to democracy. The idea is to cover several points. Going to be like fake news generation and propagation. We cover the filter bubbles, algorithms. We're going to quickly talk about the deep fakes. The fourth part, we're going to talk about impact on political system and democracy by covering, namely the Yellow Vest protest that happened in France. Also, don't want to spend much time on it. A few words about, the Cambridge Analytica scandal. I say quickly because, as data scientist that you already are and you want to be, as you guess, I strongly foster you to find and read by yourself all aspects of this data scandal. And to conclude, we're trying to think about, I would say, the potential solutions to introduce and sustain a fair and data governance. So let's try to first, talk about, disinformation. So what is disinformation? So disinformation could be like synonym of false information that is usually called fake news. So is it something new? No, definitely it's not something new. However, it has become a hot topic since precisely 2017. Because traditionally we get our news from trusted sources, journalists, media outlets that are required to follow codes of practice. But since the rise of the social network, mostly, the internet has enabled a new way to publish and share and consume information and news with, unfortunately, very, very little regulation and editorial standards. So many people nowadays get news from social media sites, networks, and often it can be difficult, to tell whether stories are credible or not. Information overload and what can we say, a general lack of understanding about how the internet works by people has also contributed to an increase in fake news and as we call hoax stories. Social media sites, I mean, fortunately, can play a big part in increasing the reach of this type of stories. So, to the question, I mean, do fake news exist just because of AI? I think you all know that obviously the answer is no. And the interesting anecdote is like it was around 2000 years ago under the Roman Republic. I mean, the Republic was facing a civil war between one side Octavian, the adopted son of Julius Caesar, and on the other side Mark Antony, one of its trusted commanders. And to win the war, Octavian knew that he had to have the public on his side. I mean, winning important battles definitely helped, but if the people didn't like him, he would not be a successful ruler, successful leader. And to get the public backing, Octavian launched what we can consider as a fake news nowadays against Mark Antony. He claimed Antony was having an affair with Cleopatra that didn't respect traditional Roman values like faithfulness, like respect. And Octavian also said that he was unfit to hold office because he was always drunk. So he then sent his message to the public through, I mean, the way of communication he had before, it was like poetry, slogan, and like messages printed on coins. And what happened then? Octavian won the war and became the first emperor of Rome, ruling for over 40 years. 40 years. The question is, what if he hadn't done that? The issue, for example, would have been the same. To be honest, we have no idea, but it's just an interesting fact that we can link and consider as the what we could call the ancient, version of what a politician, for example, could do today by writing, by releasing a book and sending out a social media post. But now, if the question is, can you use AI to leverage fake news and to help generate and propagate? I mean, the answer is clearly yes. We're gonna try to cover. I mean, we have many factors that will help a lot. I mean, we will give some possibilities that were not doable back then. I mean, one of them is the technical level reached around NLP, NLU, especially NLG, natural language generation. The automated NLG can be compared to the process humans use when they turn ideas into writing or speech. And psycholinguists prefer the term language production for this process. NLG system can also be compared to translators of artificial computers languages, such as decompilers of transpilers, maybe some of you know that, which also produce human readable code generated from an intermediate representation. And human languages tend to be much more complex and allow for more ambiguity and variety of expression than programming languages, which makes the NLG more challenging. Just here, it's a very interesting example of NLG in a website called notrealnews.net. I invite you to browse the website. It's a website that uses AI to populate what looks like news websites homepage built with complete AI written, fake news stories. And the website, which is a project from an AI company called Big Bird. So it's supposed to be a showcase of how the company's algorithm can help journalists quickly write compelling news. So this definition comes from, directly comes from the website itself and the section about. I'm gonna quickly talk about psychographics. So psychographic segmentation is one of the most effective segmentation methods, other than other methods that like could be the segment demographic one, could be geographic, it could be like the behavioral. So examples of such Threats, I mean, can be like social status, could be like daily activities, food habits, and of course, opinions of certain subjects. So I mean, why is different? I mean, it's different because it goes beyond classifying people just based on general demographic data such as age, gender, location. And psychographics aim to understand the cognitive factors that drive consumer behaviors. So this include, for example, emotional responses and motivations, and linked to moral, linked to ethical and political values, and obviously the inherent attitude and biases and so on. So psychographics could basically reshape how we collect, how we analyze, and how we apply AI and data in digital marketing and beyond. I mean, marketers, analysts, I mean, can use it to gain deeper insight into the target markets based on this psychological, emotional, motivation, and provide more, unfortunately, much more relevant messaging to this audience. When I say unfortunate, it's because if the goal, I mean, of this process is not fair and good. And as you guess, it poses big risk, I mean, to information privacy. We get some expert fears the application of psychographics could lead to a kind of what we call dystopian future. And some say that it may already be too late, I mean, to be reversed. So the human psychology, interestingly, it was something that was considered to be highly complex. I mean, especially to interpret and to understand. But now it seems to be demystified now by simply studying just a few hundred Facebook posts or likes or interaction. And it's the slide that you have here shown. I mean, it presents the research by the Dr. Kosinski that strongly invite you to read. And the diagram here and shows what threats can be easily predicted using Facebook-like data. You can find, I mean, I could also provide all the links after. It's definitely very, very interesting. Yeah, so I really like that one. I mean, it's fascinating, but at the same time, it's very scary at the same time. It was in 2015. It was a research group from the University of Cambridge decided to see if an algorithm using Facebook's data set could challenge humans at one of our most unique abilities, which is the ability to judge personalities. Researchers use more than something like 70 or 80,000 people to conduct the experiment. And the measure personality used in the experiment was, you can find the details, was something like 100 question form based on the personality test that is called Ocean, which is built on the big 5 personality traits that are mainly openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, which are, considered as the gold standard of the personality test. And the algorithm uses the Facebook likes from someone, for example, to predict his personality. And the experiment then compares the algorithm's prediction with other human judges. And the result, I mean, as you can see, I mean, it's kind of interesting and scary because with 10 likes, just 10 Facebook likes, it seems that Facebook knows your personality better than, for example, a work colleague. If you're like between 60, 70, let's say 70, with 70 like, Facebook will know you better than a close friend. And if we reach around like 100 likes, Facebook will know you better than your family members. And the last, definitely scary. With 300 likes, and Facebook will know you better than your partner, meaning husband or wife. So on what else? I mean, does AI help? I mean, I guess you know. It could be, for example, on the data engineering side. I mean, the simplicity we have now, for example, to aggregate massive data in a very short time. We also have computer vision that could parse, that could analyze, I mean, not only text, but images now, videos and social media, for instance. The subset is called image analytics, which is the branch of social listening, which analyzes images, videos, emojis, memes, and other media to understand user sentiments and how it relates to brand perception, for instance. And obviously, last but not least, just nothing would be possible without data, especially the gold mine that social media and social networks represent. Don't forget that now in 2021, number of people using social media is almost 4 billion. I mean, precisely it's 3.96 billion worldwide, but let's say it's 4, with the average user having 8.6 accounts on different networking sites. Filter bubbles algorithm. So I assume you already know this. Filter bubble, I mean, refers to what's going to be the definition? Refers to a state, can we call intellectual isolation, that can result from personalized searches. For instance, when algorithm from a website selectively guesses and provides the information a user would like to see based on his data. Data can be such as location, past click, behavior, and search history, and so on. So technically speaking, I mean, filter bubbles that you might also see the name echo chambers are built on the recommender system. So I invite you to read about recommender systems. Nothing is not going to be the topic of this talk, because yet so many probably you already work on recommender system. If you don't, please read and try to understand, I mean, how is this connected to this. So the main concern of the, let's say, the recommender systems algorithms applied to the content is the following. You get many sites that offer personalized content selections based on, for example, browsing history, age, gender, location, other data. And the result is just what? It's just a flood of articles and posts that support our current opinions and perspectives to ensure that we enjoy, that we see. So even when a site is not offering, I mean, especially, I would say, targeted content, I mean, we all tend to follow people whose views align with ours. And when those people share, for instance, a piece of content, we can be sure it will be something we're also interested in. And it's funny because I work on that, driving research, but I personally experience, I mean, the effect lately. I mean, for the short history, I have one of my best friends that moved to Bordeaux in France, something like 1 year ago. I don't really remember, but it seems I have done some research on Google by the city about traveling there, about living there, etc. And it turns out that after he moved, 4 weeks after, I had the feeling that he made a really, really bad choice, and that the city was surprisingly quite dangerous, because while reading the Google News every week, sometimes every day, I mean, something bad happened. It could be an aggression, it could be a rape, it could be a robbery. And it's just a few months after deleting the cache and checking criminal stats also on the other side, that I realized that Bordeaux was not more, dangerous than any other similar city in France. It was even safer. And as you guess, the effect, I mean, is even stronger with news, for which it's more likely to exist when something bad and something wrong happen, because you never read an article such as today, Friday, July 23rd, nothing happened in Bordeaux. No. So this is the perfect illustration of how filter bubbles, distort reality. So this might not sound so bad, but filter bubbles create echo chambers, and we assume that everyone thinks like us, and we forget that other perspectives exist. Filter bubbles, they transcend the kind of web surfing in important ways. Your social, not only, everyone, for everyone. The social cycle is a filter bubble. So is, for example, your neighborhood. If you're living in a gated community, for example, you might think that reality is only like, I don't know, a specific class of cars, of houses, of people. And your work cycle as well acts as a filter bubble, depending on whom you know and at what level you operate. One of the great problems with filter bubbles is our human tendency to think that what we see is others, without realizing that what we see is just being filtered. So deep fake, I'm gonna go quickly on this section because you can cite so many like article information on that. So deep fake, that you know is the contraction of deep learning and fakes. So the action of faking content, it's not new, but deep fake leverage powerful technique from machine learning to manipulate and generate visual, audio content. Now, it's very actual tendencies with high potential to deceive. So the main machine learning method used to create deepfake, I guess you know, based on deep learning and involve training the generative neural network architecture, such as the autoencoders and especially, again, generative adversarial networks. And regarding deepfakes, I have to say that researchers are very pessimistic. According to the new report from the UCL, University College of London, it says that deepfakes are I quote them, are the most dangerous form of crime through AI. We have famous example, like Richard Nixon, Barack Obama shooting Donald Trump, and also the one with Tom Cruise. And the author from UCL said that deepfake content is dangerous for many number of reasons, but let's say two reasons. Major one that will be it's very difficult to find. This is because while deepfake detectors require training from hundreds to thousands of videos and must be victorious every time, unlike, for example, any malicious creator, bad creator, that he only needs to be successful once. And the second reason is the variety of crime. Deepfakes could be used for, discrediting public figure by impersonating someone else. And the long effect of these could lead to distrust of audio and video evidence in general, for which the researchers say would be an obvious inherent societal harm. So let's quickly talk about, the impact in political system. I'm going to quickly explain the story about what happened in France. Initially there were only 3 people, 2 truck drivers, 1 saleswoman. And without really consulting each other, they share the same conclusion. They can any longer stand the rise of fuel prices. So it was on October 15, 2018. Facebook event was posted calling for blocking roads a month later. And it's on social network that this movement was born. And thanks to videos, film, and broadcasts on networks, you got personalities that emerged from that and end up by becoming the first representative of an unprecedented movement, the Yellow Vest. And this is why a French journalist, Vincent Glad, called Mark Zuckerberg the Yellow Vest best ally. Because Glad wrote, quote, "The movement has without a doubt been helped by the new Facebook algorithm that overemphasizes content from groups to detriment of content posted by pages." So indeed, the new Facebook algorithm called EdgeRank has facilitated, the structuring of communities and movement, because the previous algorithm has been modified in order to create geographical decentralization effect. So that way, the fact that the movement didn't have any leader, the fact that could have contained, for example, the movement, or at least minimize it, has been evenly balanced by multiple local gatherings, which once aggregated at a national scale, became the most violent protests in France since those happened in 1968. So just one word about Cambridge Analytica scandal that you all know. So according to the mother company, I mean, they are up in 1,000 election campaign in over 30 countries, spanning 5 continents. Thinking that it's unfortunately a sad example of data-driven behavioral sciences are being road tested in political sphere. I mean, in reality, some of Cambridge Analytica political warfare techniques has been quietly battle tested in actual war zones under secret military contracts aimed to fight terrorism. So I invite you to read more about what we call PsyOps, a shorter form of psychological operation, which is finally the same thing that psychographic profiling that we talked earlier, and target wing with big data and deploy in digital political campaigns by Cambridge Analytica. And we don't have to forget that PsyOps is considered as a military weapon. So quickly in the last section, I mean, I got 2 more minutes. Quickly, the solution. What are they? I mean, can we, for example, enhance data privacy? Yes, definitely we can. Some of you may know a big change is about to come. Google has announced that they will no longer support third-party cookies, but at the same time, they need to create solution. I mean, for them, especially to still make money. So that's why they're about to deploy Flock. It's a short form of federated learning cohorts that proposes a new way for businesses to reach people with relevant content and ads by clustering groups, large groups. So I strongly invite you to read about Flock. In the sense, some of the Flock analyzes user online activity within the browser and generate a cohort ID using the SIM hash algorithm and to group a given user with other users who access similar content. And in any case, I mean, I invite you to read more about federated learning, which is, I mean, according to me, it's a clear revolution in the data world, in my opinion, and it will definitely reshape the data and AI landscape very soon. What else? We can also simply stop using recommender. Simply stop using recommender system. We could imagine introducing more fairness in the content. We can imagine like a legal threshold above which filtering will no longer be allowed. And as a last point, I would like to talk about like responsible AI that can be fair and ethical. I mean, we have the possibility to favor explainability over profit. Also, try to think about minimizing bias. I mean, before developing algorithm, AI designer and developers, we should come together and discuss, identify potential biases in data, identifying the potential ramification of these biases, and then proactively take steps to minimize it. So I strongly believe in conclusion, there is no good about AI. I mean, AI is just a tool, powerful tool, but it's just a tool, and it just will be what we're gonna do with it. I mean, especially in your country, in your continent, Africa's future is innovation, tech innovation. The future is yours, and that's the reason why I really want you to be prepared to be the best entrepreneurs, engineers, innovators, and scientists of tomorrow. I mean, you in Africa, you can embrace an AI-driven future, ideally built by avoiding the bad and the risky points. And you have to stay ahead of the trends. Don't be afraid of revisit laws and regulation. It's essential that you improve your skills, continue to expand your knowledge. Staying up to date with the latest technology changes and trends will give you an edge over the rest. I repeat once again, the future is yours. And yeah, I really hope to meet you in person next year. So thank you.